Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Monday Morning Sports Rant. What's on the menu? Ryder Cup, Premier League, Betway Premiership, United Rugby Championship. Well done to the England Women's winning their second World Cup. 32 games in a row, I think. I suppose they deserve it. A fantasy team of the week in the Rugby Championship. A quick wrap of the Rugby Championship. I've already said a lot and it's been dissected ad nauseum, so I won't spend too much time on that. And then at the end, I will give you my prediction for the Bok team for the game at Twickenham against the Pumas. So stay tuned for that. You're not allowed skipping forward and you have to watch the whole report. I'm watching you. Ryder Cup. Well, what a final day. It was looking like Europe were going to set a record, but the way the Americans fought back on the final day was something to behold. They had a chance of winning it over the last few holes. It was mind-blowing. I loved every second of it. Eventually, Europe winning 15-13. Shane Lowry with the putt to retain it. He looked very awkward when he celebrated there. But that got them to 14 points as defending champions. They'd retain it. And then they got another 2 halves to win it outright. But yeah, what an event. I tell you, on the scale of sporting events, it's right up there. Especially considering it's only every 2 years. Great wins for Cameron Young, Justin Thomas, Bryson DeChambeau. He was 5 down after 7, fought back for a tie. Phenomenal comeback there. Scheffler, it was 1 versus 2, beat Rory McIlroy 1 up. But then Ludwig Aubert beat Patrick Cantlay 2-1. Wins for Schauffele, JJ Spawn. It was still on. And then, of course, the tie between Henley and Lowry. Ben Griffin then wins 1 up. But then tied. And of course, there was just a half point handed to the Europeans because Victor Hovland couldn't play. Why they can't get a replacement, I don't know. That works against everything that sport stands for. You can't just hand someone a half a point. Anyway, that is, I suppose that's the way it goes, and they must look at that in future. Scotty's record, 3 wins, 6 losses. But Tiger Woods wasn't much better. 13 wins, 21 losses in Ryder Cups. You only ever won 1 Ryder Cup. So it just shows that you can be the number 1 in the world and team competitions might not work for you. The Premier League. On Saturday, Liverpool, Man United and Chelsea all lost. And I thought, well, how often does that happen? So I asked Grok and it told me the last time that happened, all 3 on the same match day, April 1994. Can you believe it? So that's Liverpool's first loss of the season. It just shows that when you get a bit arrogant, I saw 007 for their coach. 7 wins so far, no losses. Well, there you go. Arsenal beat Newcastle yesterday 2-1. So they went 2 points behind Liverpool after 6 matches. Crystal Palace, of course, beat Liverpool. They move into 3rd place on 12 with Tottenham drawing their match. And they're on 11 after 6. So interesting in the Premier League. Betway Premiership. Oh, well, Richards Bay had that great win last week, but they went down 4-1 to Mamelodi Sundowns. So Sundowns back to the top on 21 points. Sekhukhune on 20. They do have a game in hand, however. Durban City are further 5 back in 3rd place. And Polokwane City just behind a goal difference in 4th place. The United Rugby Championship kicked off on Friday with a very good win for the Stormers. They blanked the defending champions, Leinster. And if I can just, let's refresh. There you go, 35-0. Okay, Leinster still resting their Lions players, I presume. But what a start for the Stormers. The Sharks shortly after that going down to the Glasgow Warriors. Bit of an iffy game. Ulster beating the Dragons. The Bulls, they were behind in some part of that game at Loftus against the Ospreys, but ended up winning 53-40. Zebra beating Edinburgh. Munster away winning against the Scarlets. Connacht beating Benetton. And the Lions going down in Cardiff 33-20. So, the fantasy rugby team of the week. Starting at loose head prop. Lomax, Pollard, and Alatoa. Thought Marks might have been in there, but I know Pollard did also score a try. And that's the deciding factor I've noticed. When you score tries or points, you get a lot more fantasy points than anyone else. So What I will also say is the negative side of it. If you've conceded penalties or knock-ons or forward passes or missed tackles, they should count more from a negative point of view. Because you could score a try and miss all your line-out throws and your team could still end up losing like Australia did. So there needs to be a balance. You could have a hooker that's had a very good, solid game, but he didn't score a try, isn't in the team of the week. They should look at that. And I'm sure Sanzar watch my videos and they're going to do that. Thanks, guys. Holland and Nortkia, the locks. Peter Steph Tutoy, what a game. 80 points. Now, generally in the 40s or 50s is a good haul of fantasy points. 80 points, very impressive. Savia, as usual, on the other flank, and Oviedo, 8th man. Cameron Roygaard scored 2 tries. Unsurprisingly, he's the scrum off. I'm going to skip over the obvious one. The 2 centres, Barrett and Chocobares. Now, here's a prime example, Chocobares. He benefited from that brain fade from Ches and Colby and scored a try, but he did nothing else in the game. In my opinion, Kane Moody had a very good game, but didn't score a try, but Chocobares is ahead of him. So, the wings, Colby and Carter, they both scored tries, and fullback Jordan. So, obviously, Sasha, Feinberg and Gomezulu, 147 points. Has anyone ever scored more points in a fantasy game? I can't imagine that. Now, I thought, how did they break that up? So, I did find a graphic, which hopefully will refresh at some point. There are quite a few categories, so let's go through it. Okay, so you've got +2 for minutes played. What, if you play the 80, you get 2 points? Okay, interesting. For his 3 tries, he got 45 points. Interesting how they break that down. There aren't whole numbers there. But anyway, try assists +9, conversions +6. Okay, and then you get -1 for a missed conversion. See, again, you get more points for kicking it, but less for missing it. And that could cost your team the game. You should get the same positive and negative if you kick it or miss it, if you ask me. Penalty scored +6, line out 1. You won a line out +1. But then he did concede a penalty, and that was also from a line out when he came up too quickly. So that kind of balanced itself out. Tackles +2, missed tackles -2. Okay, so that balanced itself out there as well. Defenders beaten +26, line breaks +21, line break assists +10, carries +13. I mean, wow, is all I can say as far as Sasha Feinberg and Gomezulu is concerned. Okay, the Rugby Championship. Wow, I mean, what can we say? The first half was strange to say the least, but we held out and we just demolished them in the second. It was simple as that. The situation at the moment, we're on 15 points, New Zealand 14, Australia 11, and Argentina 9. So they're out of it, which helps us. We're playing in Twickenham. 80,000 people, I would say 60 to 65,000 will be supporting the Springboks, and the Pumas won't have much to play for. So you'd have to be a very brave man to bet against us to win that and win the championship. New Zealand would have to beat Australia in Perth and get a bonus point, and then hope and beat them by 60 or 70, because the positive points difference for us is 61. We've got +55 and New Zealand's -6. So the chances of anyone other than us winning it to this point are slim to none. And let's hope that's the case. So my Bok team, quickly. There's been quite a few injuries. So I'm going to take that into account. No one that played last week who pulled out due to injury I've included. And then supposedly Hooker, Willemse, and Colby also have injuries. So you're going to take that into account. 1, Jan-Hendrik Wessels. 2, Malcolm Marks. 3, Volkulo. 4, Eamon Etzebeth. Ruan Nortkia, Seo Kolisi, Peter Steph Tutoy, Jasper Wiese. Starting Warner van der Berg. He was good when he came on. SFM, of course. Makazola Mapimpi comes in. Andre Estes and Jesse Creel, the centres, because I've moved Canan Moody to the wing. I've had to bring Willie LaRue in because we got no fullbacks. The reserves, Marnus van der Merwe, Boan Venter, Vincent Koch, Arge Snyman, Franco Mostert, Quagga Smith. I'm going with a 6-2 split because of our injuries in the backline. I want to see Faf de Klerk and Marnie Lubbock. So that's my team. Let me know what you think. Like I said, I've included nobody that was injured last week or was injured now, but a few of them could recover and play, and I hope that's the case. So that's it for this week. Cheers for now.